were meant for me. I'm in love with you.
All right, we got a package in the mail. Let's see what's inside. You guys have seen how I package my plants. Let's see how these guys package theirs.
Never let you go.
So we got all kinds of beautiful new plants here. When I stumbled across these on the website, I knew I had to have them. Some of them are varieties that I've wanted for a really long time, and a few of them they caught my eye and I couldn't help myself, like a lot of you in the nurseries come springtime. So it came with these little planting instructions here. It says keep plants in a shady area outside for a few days before planting. So overall, I'm really impressed with how things arrived. I mean, it all arrived in great condition, and now is a great time to buy because it's winter time and everything's dormant, and you can see, whoop, there are no leaves to tear up. There are no soft branches to bend and break. These are all dormant woody plants, and so they ship fairly easily. Now you saw they had them in those paper bags stapled, and everything was packed in a way that it was nice and tight, and there weren't going to be any problems. And obviously there aren't any problems. They arrived in great shape. Nothing's broken off. It all looks really good and healthy. I'm really impressed with this nursery so far, and I am excited to head into spring and see all of these little buds open up and start developing. Now I just got to figure out where I'm going to plant them all around my landscape. But in the meantime, what do I do with these guys? Well, they did say right on the packaging, in fact, it tells me where they came from, McMinnville, Tennessee. And I know exactly what zone that's in because I can look it up online. In fact, it came on the packaging. It's zone 8. I don't know if that's A or B, but like I said, you can Google something like that. Now, I know these are dormant plants because they're woody and their leaves have all been lost, and they've had these guys outside. They have gone through the mail system, but it's only been a few days. Hasn't been long enough to warm them up and wake them up thinking that it's spring. So we're in roughly the same zone. I'm in zone 8B. They might be in 8B as well, or it might be 8A, but it's close enough that I'm not too worried at all. So what I'm going to do with these guys now is I'm going to pot them up into individual pots, and we're going to keep them in this hoop house just to protect them a little bit. Remember, it does freeze in here hard as a rock. So all this is going to do is just give them a little extra protection, and then I will be able to manage how much water goes on them instead of the rains just diluting the soil like crazy. I don't know about you guys, but I am exceptionally excited about this Ruby Slippers hydrangea. So I thought we could do a little close-up here and see how they did this. So they've got them in plastic bags with rubber bands around them. I always use tape, as some of you know, and it ends up being a nightmare to open, but these guys have made it very easy. Thank you to the company. They're not making it as much of a nightmare as I do for people. And everything looks great, man. Let's take a look at how these roots look down in here. If I can get that out, look at that. Fully rooted, and the prices were fantastic. Look at that. Fully rooted, nice little plant in a 4x4 pot there. Looks like 6 inches deep. That is a nice little plant for the price. I mean, you can't beat that. It's going to be beautiful. Look at the magnolias here. I mean, they've got roots just pouring out the bottom of those pots. These things are so nice with just tons of healthy roots. All right, so we got them all potted up here, and I decided to go with 1-gallon pots for these guys. Why? Because I'm probably going to be planting these out into my landscape sooner than later. You know, there are 2 of them were a little bit bigger than the others, but there was still plenty of room, and they're going to fill out with roots really nicely. They've got plenty more room to expand and grow through this summer, so I'm not worried about them at all. One of the things I really liked, which I think is very important, is they've got each one nicely labeled. I can just leave the labels with the plants. I don't have to worry about any of that. Now, I am not going to water these, so you can see that this fir bark is actually pretty moist from sitting out there in the rain and the snow, and the potting soil that they had these growing in was fairly moist as well. And the last thing I want to do is waterlog these. There's plenty of moisture in there, and they're not actively growing. So I'm going to wait until later on in the season, you know, come closer to spring when the weather starts warming up, or if I see this bark starting to dry out at all. I'm also not going to fertilize quite yet because, once again, they're not actively growing. But when we start seeing maybe little buds swelling up top here, things like that going on, look at all those weeds. I got to deal with that. Those are all little Japanese maple trees throughout there. Isn't that crazy? Little green leaf Japanese maples. Anyway, back to the video. When I see buds swelling, when I know that the weather's starting to warm, then I'll put my slow release fertilizer on these, water it in, and then they'll start growing through the summer, and we're going to have nice, beautiful, healthy plants. And I better get my button gear and figure out where I'm going to plant all these things through this summer. So Panter Nursery, I'm giving you guys a definite 2 thumbs up for whatever that's worth. And how do I decide that? Well, I got beautiful plants in a very quick time for not much money at all. I mean, I am extremely happy with this buy. And yes, I did buy these. This is not paid advertising. I'm just telling you guys where I got them. I really like the plants. I think they're beautiful. I can't wait until these buds start swelling and we get these new things to grow. I have been wanting these plants for such a long time. The other really cool thing that this company sent me, some new pots. So if you're interested, go check them out. I'll put a link in the description. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, hit the like button. Subscribe if you want to follow along and see these guys grow coming up this spring. Have a fantastic week, and I'll see you in the next video. Adios.
Baby, you're the one for me. Baby, you are meant for me. I'm madly in love with you. Baby, you're the one for me. Baby, you are. I'm madly in love with you.